The teams have been choosing Blue's side. Yesterday in the third place match, both Cloud9, sorry, not Cloud9, Counterlogic Gaming and Team Dignitas had picked red the entire way through. Immortals and TSM have different ideas about what side is best. You can see Immortals realizing that Syndra is really good in the hands of Bjergsen. They're going to remove it from the champion pool right now. No Kalista allowed for Cody Sun.
Will they also identify the Rakan as a large factor and not give that one over? Because even if you're going to trade something back like the Tristana, which is very highly prized, and like a Gragas, which also extremely high priority, it does not seem like it was worth the cost.
Well, part of it is that TSM did first pick Rakan, seeming to insinuate that Immortals would have been happy to pick it if not grabbed early enough, and that's usually what a first pick means. So maybe we see Immortals take that themselves and weasel around what the counter picks are going to be. Lucian off the table as well. TSM, the second time they've banned this champion out.
Yeah, fairly similar bans to last game. You can see the Kalista, Taliyah, Lucian were all game 1 bans. Just that Syndra is being thrown in here. Definitely something that is going to get through, because just a bunch of mid lane bans thrown at Bjergsen early makes you think that Immortals is planning on power picking a mid.
5 mids banned.
Pretty early in the draft.
5 mids banned. Lucian can flex, but we know he's mostly a mid laner right now. Does this mean Immortals now first pick a mid instead to cut the pool down sooner? Or is it still going to be that Rakan highly prized, or is it even something else? The Kog'Maw is up for Cody Sun. We know the double ups also played it though, so a lot of contested picks are available, and it's Jarvan.
Wow. Song very brave in this draft, leaving Rakan on the table after what happened last game, going again with Jarvan. Technically, they could pull off the same type of team composition, and TSM is going to be so tempted to just go Xayah Rakan right here, even with someone like Trist up. Very curious what they do.
Yeah, Xayah Rakan seems pretty likely. I actually really like Braum into Xayah Rakan. It's good against both of them for different reasons. When Rakan engages, you can block the damage afterwards. And Xayah, of course, needs that pass-through damage, and Braum blocks that as well. It actually completely removes the power of Blade Caller on the back end of it. So same dual lane for TSM. Immortals clearly not worried enough about that combo. They had outlaned it early game. They just got outplayed in the gank, so maybe they think they can beat it on the run back.
Yep, TSM happy to take a little CS deficit early on in the game. We'll see if they can actually have a smaller one this time around. Cody Sun goes back to the Kog'Maw, though, something they have definitely found success with.
Yeah, and they could still do a Galio here if they want to. Now that they've banned out 5 mids and there's no Syndra to go against it, they think that would be the protection and initiation necessary to get a Cog to the late game. Still a lot of versatility left in the comp, though.
I'd be very perplexed a little bit if they don't jump on something like an Alistar to break up this combo. I mean, teams have found success in multiple champions to try and break through this Rakan initiation and break up this duo on the bottom side, but maybe if Immortals are happy to go through the second ban phase, then they might just go with a Lulu or something for another Ardent Sensor for Kog'Maw.
Yeah, you run an Enchanter or something back there. Yeah, curious to see what happens here in this one. Zac, though, I think this is a great pickup. Just is a great champion in general, and of course was banned in the last game, but it super loves to build high magic resist items. An Adaptive Helm and a Spirit Visage against a Kog'Maw 50-50 and a Corki who's like 90-10 on damage output. Adaptive Helm works against both these champions as well.
Yep.
The tanks can block so much of the Immortals backline damage.
Agreed. It does sack the early game a little bit, which can be risky against Cog if he does fall behind in the early game and Cog gets the item power spikes first. And it also leaves the door open for even more bans at mid lane. Immortals already locked in their mid lane, have the choice now of sending more towards Bjergsen. And we did mention that we're a little surprised that Immortals didn't go for something like Alistar for Ole because he has been so dominant, but they're clearly confident with whatever he's got in his back pocket.
Mid lane ban number 6 as Vladimir's off the table.
Also something that's interesting with the Kog'Maw Corki combo, as much as it is nice for the other team to build magic resistance and adaptive helm and things like that, we rarely see multiple people benefit from Wit's End, but Kog'Maw can shred magic resist for Corki, who's been shifting even more towards the magic damage spectrum, so they might even rush through the Wit's End first item or something like that and try and play off of the Trinity Force Wit's End spike.
That's true. It would be a spike. Ironically, though, it makes Blade of the Ruin King better by being a physical damage item based on health, so it's like good against Spirit Visage, and there's just fun itemization choices here. Gragas off the table. Galio as well, to be fair, as that's mid lane ban number 7. Plus the pick from Immortals.
Immortals spending every single one of their mid lane bans against Bjergsen, and I feel like he still gets a good counter pick. By locking in Cassidy. Cassidy is very good into Corki. His passive reduces magic damage. Corki because he does so much magic damage, actually just doesn't have that much bully potential on the Kassadin in lane.
Yeah, the one thing would be, you talk about sacking the early game. They've got Zach, they have Kassadin lane, they have Zyra lane.
Yeah.
TSM are kind of giving way to the early game here and saying, Immortals, have it.
Right.
See what you can do. If you cannot snowball, you will lose.
That's true. There's no guarantee Zyra wins the bot lane. We don't know Ole's champion just yet. There's a chance it works. And Tom Kench, Kog'Maw, not the strongest of lanes. I actually expect TSM to have a bit of power on that one. And we'll see what their final pickup ends up being. Jarvan is still a flex right now. If he's top lane, he'll be more damage focused by a little bit. They might need that in the damage profile. Sejuani is going to be coming through in the jungle role, so triple frontline once again, but actually some physical damage out of Flame in the top lane will help that damage profile a bit.
And getting Flame back on one of the picks he succeeded the most on during the regular season. Oftentimes on Jarvan or Renekton, Immortals succeeded, but a classic pick for Xmithy in Sejuani. Not the most dominant early game jungler either, so a little bit of a mid-game spike that Immortals is going to be looking for.
In the match.
Also, Ole is going to be working overtime on this Kog'Maw, trying to save people from the Rakan initiations, trying to save people from Zach Elastic Slingshot as well. Everybody's got to be looking on the ground for those shadows because he can't be everywhere at once.
Yeah, and the Renekton is to match the Jarvan as far as laning power here. The one fear for TSM, as you mentioned, Kobe, is the early game and the amount of range damage Immortals can do to turrets. So if TSM stumbles a little bit in the early game, there is a chance that Immortals can just rotate around, take multiple turrets early, hit the item power spikes, and just snowball the game. So TSM has to play defense and take it a little bit late.
We'll see if they can get that late game coming online with the Kassadin and everything else. Use your lineups on the screen one more time, and a wonderful Boston crowd ready to cheer on their favorite teams as TSM and Immortals take to the Rift for game number 2. TSM's duo keeping the same champions as before. Immortals running 5 different if you count moving the role around. Quick shake of hands for these two coaches. Song new to the lineup and has certainly transformed the Immortals into a force to be reckoned with. The TSM may not be swayed. 1-0 up in the series, best of 5. TSM will be the first team in North America to win 3 straight titles and put their 6th trophy on their mantle. There have only been 10 splits, and it's going to be maybe number 6 for TSM out of this one. We'll see if they can make it happen. The crowd is ready, the fans are ready, and so are we, and so are the players to get themselves into game 2 of this best of 5. Immortals hoping to fire back before it's too late. Game 2 hitting the Rift.
I do think this Immortals team comp has a lot of potential. Oftentimes, the shove they could have in the early game can be a great bridge for Kog'Maw to hit that 2 and 3 item spike. And we've even seen Xmithy go Ardent Sensor on Sejuani. There's a chance he does that in this game as well if they're looking to apply that shield based on the CC that Xmithy can put out. But as we saw last game, there was an early game jump for TSM. They're running Rakan once again, but this time they're not sneaking him into the enemy jungle.
Yeah, and we'll keep a close eye on this early game, especially with Smithy, with this Sejuani. I was talking to Zyrene quite a bit about the early Sejuani openings and the frequency now of them actually starting with this Hunter's Machete for the extra single target damage, just going single target camps, try and get that level 3 very early.
Yeah.
It actually does allow Smithy to try and get out on that map and have an earlier presence than Zach does, who wants to get more levels in his Elastic Slingshot. And then, once Bjergsen is level 6, he could try and target the mid lane.
2 CS for Pobelzer. He is massive, 20 gold up, bonus XP as well. I don't know if it'll be enough to actually change level up patterns by any means, but
there is a chance that this means red buff, blue buff, and Scuttle Crab for Xmithy could net level 3 now that he's gotten a little bit of experience by assisting on those ward kills.
Yeah.
That is
Don't know the breakpoints well enough, but it's certainly not that
It's so
much
small, though, when they're all sharing.
Yeah. You got like 8 or something, you know. It's not 0. Quick stun comes in, and it's going to be a buff start for both these squads, getting leeches from their duo lanes. Xmithy going to knock down that red buff without much issue. See who can win in this mid lane battle as Bjergsen takes an auto attack first. The duo lane's going to get back to their side of the map without much difficulty.
Actually here, trying to play the ping game and decipher, there was a yellow ping from, I believe, TSM down onto the Raptors.
Yeah.
Theorizing that maybe Smithy did start there, but again, with the Sejuani, with the Hunter's Machete, you want to go for the single target. Your permafrost does a large amount of damage on single target camps, and right now he's leashing his blue back, trying to avoid the extra auto attacks.
Yeah. Generally speaking, if you see the Talisman, the Sejuani will be trying to clear Raptors. If you see the Machete, pretty much just going for single target camps, relying on that huge burst they get from the permafrost stun to clear those 3 camps and get level 3 right away. Then they go and pull off their game.
The permafrost auto attack does so much damage at the end of it all. You see Sven clearing away his camps quickly enough. Of course, Zach, pretty good at AoE camps himself. Level 3 is there. The same for Smithy. And the bonus XP, of course, doesn't matter. He took 3 big camps and takes Scuttle, then looks to invade onto a Zach that often gets low in the jungle.
Yeah, and they're going to both have Smite if they end up fighting over this red buff. Sven Skaren a little bit unawares, hasn't started on red, and XMT has no reason to know he's here, but he does find him.
Finds him for the damage output. A couple more autos to get the stun. He's got that. Won't quite get the passive, but does force Sven out of the jungle. At least a little bit. Now he goes back in to get some blobs.
Yeah, no surprise here. Zach being bullied a bit out of his own jungle early on. Is not in any place to try and fight that. Still gets to pick up a lot of the Krugs, though, as Smithy goes to take the red.
And he's going to get it. There's actually no contest in this one. He's going to get all the burst damage he needs. Auto smite once the sun comes in. You can see he's timing it as well. And that's a buff steal out for Smithy. Triple buff 3.5 minutes in.
Yeah, but the gold for the junglers is the same because you get so much gold from the Krugs and the Raptors. So Xmithy trying to make the most of having pushing mid lane against Zach.
Body Slam comes in, they get the dunk, and they get the first blood as well. Look at that, Xmithy getting the kill to Flame in the top lane.
Xmithy in the early game, highlighted here, and Sejuani is able to grab the last hit on that kill as well. We'll see how quickly he can get back out on the map and use that gold.
Yeah, I mentioned Sejuani, not the strongest early game champion. In the hands of Xmithy, though, I take it back. The 3 camp, all single target camps, getting the double buffs into this perfect dive.
Well, Flame here deserves a lot of credit. He's level 4 on Jarvan, harassed Haunter down to 50% HP and pushed him under the turret in the matchup, able to really set this dive up.
Really, really great stuff out of them. I'm checking, and I'm pretty sure it was a Doran shield start from Haunter in the first place, and he still died despite a very defensive laning item.
I mean, look at Flame CS, already off to an extremely good start on that top side. So identifying that area of strength now, Immortals should continue to play around the top triangle of the map and have their bottom lane a little bit more defensive and just go for CS.
Yeah, the 28th First Blood Xmithy has participated in regular season plus playoffs, the most of anyone in the LCS. So trying to put his stamp on this game, and I think you're right, Kobe, in going back for Haunter. One thing is they didn't burn the flash, so Haunter still has that.
There's no ward.
The pressure's going to stay on, though.
No wards. They don't know that he's waiting around on this wing, and there was a couple of... Oh, gets spotted. Now Xmithy.
Peekaboo.
No dive to be had, and he spent his time going for this. His wolves are up right now, so he's losing a little bit of potential gold as a result, but no kill to be had. Nice little attempt. Flame goes in for the trade, gets some damage, but Haunter hitting it back pretty well.
Yeah, mid lane just going to be a bit of a farm off, but Pobelter should be shoving for a lot of it. Sven Skaren's here for a counter gank, potentially.
Down, gets an Arctic Assault in and forces him away for this one. Bjergsen pretty okay as well, and Sven going to start on these Raptors. Would be careful. You've got a Smithy coming for you.
Smithy with the casual 2v1 while the rest of his team cleans up the minions in mid lane.
And Smithy's going to get most of the gold of this camp. No, Sven just walks in and attacks him a few times, shatters the Arctic armor and gets the permafrost hit as well, and Sven seems fine.
Also, look at all the deep vision now Immortals are putting into the top side. Talk about top triangle versus bottom triangle. Immortals completely taking over this red side of the jungle, going for the counter jungle on the Krugs as well is an extremely high value.
All right, well, be careful. Haunter's level 6, and it's a level 4 Xmithy, but doesn't want to pop the ulti. He knows Flame is around. But Haunter first to 6. Flame actually has to knock some minions down before he gets that ulti.
Yeah, and looking at the goal between the two junglers, Xmithy only 100 gold ahead of Sven Skaren, who's still clearing this Krug camp. So this has been a much different game plan for Immortals, and it was successful in the fact that it got first blood. But beyond that, not much has been gained for Immortals.
Nice little trade as well by Bjergsen in the mid lane. He knew Xmithy was far away and got to go for an aggressive Rift Walk. But yeah, I gotta say, the top lane farm is within 3. As you mentioned, the jungle gold pretty close as well. And so despite a first blood being worth 500-600 gold, it's much closer than that in actual gold income right now. Sven on a ward. Flame should be fine here. You know, with that wave pushing, that Sven can always wait around, and Flame might not be allowed to get any farm. Smithy gonna find him. Immune to slows, grabs them all.
I'll take those, please.
Thanks,
One
buddy.
of the best parts of Sejuani.
And Malzahar. All right, knock up onto Ole. They go for the tank into this one. And jump right back out. Look at the trade power there. This is the kind of damage output the TSM duo has. Looking at that farm lead, plus 15 for TSM. Here comes the engagement as Redis Xmithy about to come around. Does not have the ulti, will land a couple of slows. One more hit gets the stun. Do they have the burst damage? They almost get Bjergsen, but he does get to Rift Walk away at 300 health.
Summoner Spell Discipline wants to save that flash, was waiting on his Rift Walk cooldown and has Svenskeren in his back pocket to avoid this dive. Bjergsen is trying to maximize his farm without opening up the Corki to roam. A little bit of danger there as he is so low without teleport. The Pobelter can roam to make a play.
He doesn't have much mana, but he is heading down to the bottom side for some honey fruit here to refill.
Very small window, but has to worry about Zach as well.
Yeah. Knows that the threat does have his Valkyrie layable and 270 mana to spend, so he's fine with that. Right now, Immortals are going to lick their wounds again. The farm deficit 13-ish for the Immortals duo. Certainly a much less strong laning phase with Cog and Tom Kench, but damage output can be there. And frontline continues, Pobelter can also join the fray. Nice knock-in, but that's going to put him in turret range. Gets the shield, he's not in too bad of a shape. Out they go once again.
Double hit 6 first, and Biofrost will be 6 shortly, so the potential for a play is there. Depends how well they're timing the teleports of Immortals as well. Flame and Pobelter both without, while Hanser does have his if a big fight breaks out, but that's only going to be true for the next 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, a lot of recalls actually being synced up for TSM right now. They're not looking to play aggressively anywhere on the map with both jungle and mid lane in the base.
There's something worth pointing out with TSM. Hanser actually took the reduced Summoner Spell cooldown mastery, so he's got 45 seconds advantage against Flame when TPs are matched. So I actually expect TSM to try to play around those windows more and more. They had done similar TPs before, and they're still in that window of Hanser having TP and Flame not.
Hanser has done a good job of stabilizing even after that first blood dive from Smithy. Just doing just fine in CS here. And as you said, ready with the teleport. They can answer very easily on the bottom side, but Smithy wants to bring it once again back to the top.
Finds a ward though on the way, and at least it's a swing of 105 gold for killing one and removing the other, but still an equal gold game right now, and Sven waiting in the wings. He's gonna find Flame. Woo, nice little juke in the auto attack. Means not a lot of follow through. Gets rid of the passive, and here comes Corki! And he gets pushed right back in though with the less bounce. Pulls him to the turret, stays alive. Smithy now part of the fray. But be careful. TP up, you can't kill him.
Towards the turret, but there were minions there already.
Hanser flash! Oh, they got him in turret range! Absolute perfection out of Hanser! That was so immaculate! The trade kill comes in, but watch out, the CC's coming across! And it's more kills coming up. The ulti in doesn't really matter. A 3-for-1 advantage TSM. They completely crushed that fight under the turret.
Oh my goodness, Hanser goes down in the end, but he nabs the kills before he does. Big play.
What a massive defense there for TSM. And much like in game 1, it's Immortals trying to walk into TSM, and TSM being ready for it. So Svenskeren misses the initial skill shot, but then as the package comes in, times the ultimate just right, grabbing both of them into turret range, flashing afterwards to buy time for Bjergsen's arrival. Immortals is confident because they have Ole coming up the river, but the flash stun from Hanser, huge.
Then Ole comes in as well, arrives on the top Kench, but it doesn't matter. Bjergsen is here, nice AoE combo there, and Ole arrives just to die.
And Svenskeren being low at the turret doesn't matter. He still has Zac passive, and because Hanser had saved his teleport, there was no way to kill the Bloblets if you do a dive like that, as long as Bjergsen is coming up the river to threaten. So just a very good execution of a defense there by TSM.
Immortals very eager to try and continue to pressure on this top triangle, continue to get more out of the TSM jungle, but definitely paid for that one. And now it's a healthy gold lead in the early game for the TSM squad. Bottom lane earned theirs their own. Top side has kind of righted itself.
It is going to be the Wit's End rush out of Cody's Son. Nothing else builds out of those items got in his inventory, so he's going to go for the Magic Shred. Speaking of that, Bjergsen is shredding out some of the health bars of Pobelter. Got about 400 on that Corki right there as he pokes back and forth and doesn't want to take another Null Sphere for the face. 1200 gold to TSM. Nice knockup. Just kidding. It's Ole who pulls him away. Puts him back in the belly. Out they go. Foul flash playing so well.
Such a subdued pace in the bottom lane compared to game 1, where they just get to play with a 2v2 down there instead of having jungle intervention all the time.
And again, just stopped out by Ole. That's an ulti down and really no damage to speak of against Cody's Son. Some disrespect, but here comes the attempt. But what they're getting away with the Valkyrie, just had the mana pool for it. And gets Svenskeren to half HP, but there's no one around to stop him.
They did see, I believe, Smithy up on the ward that's in their own jungle. So they know that Smithy, has passed by the top side, and that's why Svenskeren goes for that dive even between the two turrets.
Flame still wants to battle up against Haunter in this one. Gonna see what kind of damage he can deal, because now Smithy's in the fray. He's gonna start stacking up the possible stuns. The flash and chase with the W, they're gonna get the damage out, but the stun gonna break as well. And despite the ulti pop, he's got no way out. I believe the ulti even popped for Smithy to guarantee it comes through.
Yeah, he was getting the double freeze there, and the only way to do that is to hit with your first one and then use the ultimate to get the second stun. So Smithy did that just right.
Will they try and actually stay at the turret for first turret gold? TSM are taking the opportunity to start a Dragon King trade.
Now, a 13-minute Ocean Break, not bad at all as the wave comes in. This should be the turret dying on this wave, which is why they're keeping Smithy around. We know there's no rotation coming out for Bjergsen, so it'll be a trade of first turret for a fairly early Ocean Break, as the Immortals have put so much pressure towards Flame, trying to have him win his matchup. The gold shared across the two.
I mean, Smithy has had a laser focus in both games 1 and 2 on completely different lanes. And in both, it did net them first turret, but at a pretty large cost. The kills are going back over to TSM. You can see Bjergsen is healthily into his laning phase, almost hitting level 11 for that first reduced cooldown on Riftwalk. And TSM has the first Drake. So the overall result of Smithy's switched focus has been pretty much the same between games 1 and 2.
Solid defense from TSM so far in this series. Right now, though, tied in gold, and Recall's putting it safely for a lot of these players. Kog'Maw back in base. Cody Sun gets his wits end. Building towards his next item. Could be almost anything that goes into his build normally, but that's the first item spike in. Of course, Ole not going to get an Ardent Defense anytime early, so no double spike with that.
Question is always, once they get the first turret down and top lane is pushed in, what can Immortals do to keep up the pace? You get a little bit of tempo advantage there with topside pushing, and now Flame gets to roam the map, but where can they actually force? Bjergsen on Kassadin with Flash and level 11, as you said, very mobile, and it's very hard to force on him. So it looks like they're actually just kind of doing some ward work here.
Gonna find a friend, says hello to Bjergsen. Riftwalk gets him away. Takes some damage, doesn't care about the rest of it though. Taking a Kassadin at this point practically impossible, even as the chain for more CDR plus level 11, so that's a very short Riftwalk cooldown. But here comes the Bastards once again. Flame and Smithy putting a lot of time together. Nice stun for Haunter, and then back out he goes.
Found a Jarvan. Don't necessarily want to stay in enemy territory. Jumps right back out. And this is actually the first 15 minutes that TSM wanted. They had a low wave clear mid laner. They had the disadvantaged early game jungler. And they've still gotten their farm in a pretty good place. Bjergsen now free to potentially go and make some plays down bottom where they, TSM, have the initiation advantage.
So the next play ends up being then is this, again, Kassadin online. Can get the wave clear going. Smithy over the side. You see Poels are really trying to bait in something, saying, please trade with me, use Riftwalk. He won't do it. Bjergsen, no, goes in for this one, but this time he's out of range of where the Sejuani could be, and Riftwalk is back up. You can see he just wins these trades against Pobelter. Porgers do not want to delay their Hex Drinker, or sorry, delay the Trinity Force with a Hex Drinker, so no MR yet on him.
22, both junglers waiting for the other to gank there, watching the mid lane trade. He who makes the first move in those situations can be punished. There goes Sven.
Blocks out the Valkyrie, but doesn't land the knockback just yet. Looks for the next play, though. Pulls an Smithy. Here comes a big trade in towards Pobelter. But a forced flash out. The stun's going to land, though. They're going to land it all together. The TP is up, though. They can buy some time. Do they use it? Yes, they do. Teleports come in from both, actually. And they're going to see what happens to the bot lane now as he chops up one, but can't get the kill. The trade on the Zac in the mid lane did come through, but at the end of the day, it's TSM again. They both TP'd to try to stop it. Haunter shows up, but gets not much for it.
Still a big play down bottom 2v2. Everyone on the map fighting at the same time right there, but Svenskeren pulling Smithy in is exactly what Smithy wanted during that fight. So now they're trying to push mid, but TSM, since they won the bot lane fight, are roaming up.
And Cog can't join. Just a 4v3 if an engage does come through from Haunter. There's got to be some respect out of Immortals, but it's actually Riftwalk backwards, so no engage to be had.
Well, they see Biofrost heading up and trying to clear all these wards through the jungle, but Double Lift is headed back to the bottom lane. It looks like the action will dissipate for now. Immortals, though, could want to stick around for some turret damage, and that might be punished.
And we'll see. Flame right now going to stay with the crew. Pobelter a bit injured as Blue Buff is timed out. Of course, with this Ocean Drake, Bjergsen keeps sustaining up between these forays. Still more damage to the turret. Smithy going to come frontline a little bit as well, but the minions are gone, and this turret yet to go down. That poke's still adding up.
Yeah, and they know they burned both teleports, and they had both teleport users defending and forcing them back to recall. So if these recalls complete, Immortals knows they can finish that mid turret.
It's going to stay, but that's going to be kind of the risk, though, is lots of gold in their pockets. As TSM resets, they've got better items, so yes, this turret will fall, and perhaps Immortals were grabbing it here, 2-0 in turret's 500 gold lead, but they've still got to use that gold at some point. They haven't backed in a while. A bit of a stun and a Biofrost, so the chase continuing for Xmithy. No ulti quite yet available. The slows are landing. They might get in the flash force. The dunk, though, still going to come through from downtown. Flame takes him out.
They're going to have gold, and they also are going to have map territory here. With all the outer turret advantage to Immortals, they're going to be able to get those deep wards, see TSM's movements, and continue to go for picks just like that one.
Yeah, the Rift Herald sack of time from TSM as well is opening up Immortals for the third turret. Getting the outer 3 turrets really opens up the map if they're able to go around and make plays. They still have the Abyssal Voyage from the Tom Kench as well if TSM moves up in those lanes now. So this game just got real dangerous for TSM.
It did. 1,700 gold lead. Immortals going to start cashing in that money. Watch this mid lane fight again from way back when.
Once again, as we talked about, the one that goes first here can be punished really heavily in these plays. Svenskeren has to flash ultimate out there, but Xmithy nails him with the double stuns, and they're able to clean up that kill. Even after the teleport does delay it, he's still going to be in range, and Flame saved his dunk there. Looks like he got 4 points in the last couple minutes.
Some miscommunication by TSM, only needed one of those teleports to channel, and then as Immortals was trying to join,
And they're going to catch him again. Hot out in the top river. Zach, one with the earth again.
Xmithy Sejuani has been very clean this game. He's consistently getting the permafrost stun and then getting the ultimate off. You have to be really ahead of the play in order to make that happen, obviously, because you have to get close to them, stack up the stun, detonate it, and then hit the second. But it's so much more damage from the combo for him, and it's setting up most of, if not all of Immortals' kills.
It's such an interesting race here because Immortals are playing to their comp.
There's the flash out. Bjergsen has the ulti up in a couple seconds, and he's going to be safe for that one. But still, look at this damage in the turret. Immortals really turning up the pace.
Definitely pressing ahead. They continue to find the picks. They continue to pressure 4 turrets as well.
And for Shields, turret's still going to fall. That's 4-1 in turret. TSM duo got theirs the bot lane. They had won the lane. They deserved that, but Immortals will be farther ahead.
TSM's bottom lane is kind of the shining hope for them. Double Lift and Biofrost have been the ones earning the advantages. They've taken the turret now so they can join the rest of the team. We'll see if it's going to be enough to keep them safe. The Immortals Death Squad has been on a roll.
And TSM has to find a way to get vision of Xmithy or Flame. Those are the guys who are making the plays start for Immortals. And Svenskeren is way off counter jungling when this play actually starts. It's the Abyssal Voyage that cuts him off. Kodu-san and Ole fly in. It changes Svenskeren's direction. It gives enough time for Pobelter to get close. Ole then flashes for the slow, and pretty much it's just a numbers advantage. The whole reason Immortals gets that kill.
TSM, though, back on the map. They're rushing down for this Cloud Drake, and they should be able to add this one without much issue. So another non-combat Drake added to the mix, but it might help them get into or out of fight sometime later on. The golden lead, I should say, still remains for Immortals.
And TSM kind of trying to stack advantages up for the late game. Bjergsen starting the split push with teleport right now. A heavy focus on the Rift Herald as well as the Drakes. The Drake buffs never go away. The Rift Herald's going to have to be used in a few minutes and probably won't net them much with the map pressure Immortals has, but they're definitely in a holding pattern right here. And the one thing that did give Immortals such pressure to take those last few turrets was when TSM tried to get aggressive, whether Svenskeren was initiating or trying to counter jungle. So TSM actually needs to play a little bit more passive until they can find the right fight.
And Immortals trying to make sure they can line up their lanes appropriately. Both teams this time around running double teleport. Flame right now tasked with handling Bjergsen. Both are going to be maybe holding the other side of the map or joining with the crew. Right now it's a 1-4. And they're going to let bot lane be pushed in by Hanser if he wants to. Immortals now grouping up around this Baron. It is available. Hanser does have TP. Control Ward of the Pit means TSM now blinded in this side of the map.
This is how they found their success, grouping up, roaming as the 4-man squad, finding picks on the lone TSM members. But now Bjergsen catches sight of them. TSM can play accordingly. He slips into the Baron even to clear out the vision they just placed.
And it's worth pointing out right now that even though there's an Ardent Scepter done for Biofrost, Double Up has not recalled in a very long time. He has a couple thousand gold in inventory right now. Kodu-san's already got his Hurricane Spike. Mid lane gonna be pushed in, but if there's a fight happening, Double Up is under itemized right now. As the Rift Girl's gonna push in, get plenty of damage down. It will die, but gets half the mid lane outer turret.
That also does draw out the Abyssal Voyage of Ole to defend here. So that is one of the tools that Immortals have been using to try and get these picks. And TSM may have bought themselves a little bit of time with that push, even though they don't get the turrets. Xmithy wants a piece of Svenskeren, but he'll just have to settle for chicken.
That's 2 straight defensive ultis out of him, and nice smite by Xmithy grabs the big chicken. This Smite's going to be back up before too terribly long. They just can't rush Baron just yet. Looks to be engaged, though. Actually, Sven wants in. Gets a bit of damage, knocks them together. Here comes the charm, the knockup as well. The rest of the team going to join in. TP coming in just now for Flame. Do they have the damage over the big storm? Going to rage on, do plenty of damage. Sven right back into the mix yet again. Featherstorm knocked out, and now into Bloblets. Haunts are already part of the mix. And the front line taking plenty of damage. Going to knock him down. Yes, one kill on a Sven. And then dunk into the back line. They get a double kill out for Pobelter. Looking for a second championship, but a knock up there. The re-engage for Haunts. Looks for the stun. Does pick up Ole. Running away, but he's going to still lose his life. And now Biofrost's going to fall. 4-1 advantage Immortals.
That's exactly what Immortals wanted. They've been poking around for a fight, and Svenskeren gave it to them.
Especially when Svenskeren uses his ultimate to escape with the Raptors to then fight right afterwards. Immortals knew this was the fight to go all in, and they bide their time during that fight as well. Flame holds his Cataclysm until exactly the right moment, and they get 4 kills plus the Baron.
They know there's no threat. Double doing the best he can with his time to push down mid. He does actually manage to knock down mid outers as falls, but a smite comes through for Smithy, and a Baron picked up as early as it was last game. This time, though, for Immortals.
Smithy is now 2 levels above Svenskeren after the fight. We're going to replay right now. Sven goes in, he gets the double knockup, and Biofrost does use the combo from Rakan super early on, so they're left without a lot of control. Then the re-engagement. Sven is so low, he immediately gets popped, but Flame goes offensive for Immortals.
And then Flame actually flashes back. TSM moves forward, then he gets a 3-man ultimate. The damage applied to all 3, still able to stay in the front line. Pobelter gets his second Valkyrie of the fight. Haunter doesn't have enough damage to finish him off with the stun, and those small advantages Immortals had been accruing in items, and the fact that Doublelift hadn't shopped, even though he was in a position to free hit for much of that fight, paid off for Immortals in a big way.
I think he had just barely by the time that fight came through. His Hurricane gave 4,000 damage to this one, but now the re-engage coming across, going to find a couple of knockups. Looking to knock down Ole, gets the shield up in time and stays alive. The charm running back to the back line, and nothing with the left bounce either. The fight has continued as Pobelter wants to chase in towards this Zac at half HP. Going to push Svenskeren away, chases in towards Double, the crit coming in for plenty of damage. Now Bjergsen joins the fight for a slow as well. Here comes Smithy. Can they get the stun? Not quite just yet, but the health bar is so dangerously low out of this as Smithy still holds the front line, and they all stay alive as Flame pushes the bot lane.
Fight's very critical while Baron is active because the turret kills afterwards can come so quickly thanks to the Baron Empowered minions. Very important that no one on TSM died there, as they will be able to heal up and prevent an absolute disaster, even though Immortals now with full control.
This is a huge, huge sweep for Immortals. A lot of gold income for them to really extend this lead. It was getting a little tenuous there for a moment, but they've cleaned the map of TSM turrets. Only the inhibitor ones remain standing.
And look at this one, 6-2 in turrets on this Immortals. Doing such an amazing job in the mid game. Baron buff still on for a minute and a half. They've got a lot of room still to work with if they want to. But Welter even better at killing turrets, has a rapid fire cannon done. Rage Blade soon for Cody's son.
Immortals have been able to leave around a bunch of wards as well before they exited TSM territory. So it should be very simplistic for Immortals to set up for the next Drake. It is just a Cloud Drake, but they do want to get back on the board and kind of break the TSM hold on the Dragons.
Absolutely. See, Sven gets away. This is actually the second blue buff in a row he's had to grab. Bjergsen's never been around to take it. He's been pushing top lane for the last 5 minutes roughly, so not optimal situation. So CDR, of course, not a bad stat on Zac. Cloud Drake up in 15 seconds. Baron buff still on for a minute. And we'll see as the team has grouped towards the bottom middle side of the map. See if Immortals can get anything with this.
Yeah, Smithy has been everywhere this game. 90% kill participation, and they still have about a minute on this Baron, but need to get multiple waves crashing at the same time if they want to crack the inhibitor line of TSM. The package being up right now for Pobelter does make him fairly confident. They're getting a decent chunk of damage early on.
Fine for themselves, back and forth, damage up coming through, and just the wave clear, but that turret's down to half HP.
This is definitely a peak in Immortals' power. The huge gold difference now, just spiking with the Baron buff. Package is actually down, but they've got another wave to push with.
Gonna get a lot of damage to this one. Turret down to 2/3 so far. Who wants to engage from TSM? Pretty much nobody. Is Baron timing out in a few seconds, but they finish the turret in time. The engage comes across. They found Corky. They've got him. The shutdown comes through into Pobelter, and it's now the fight. 5v4. Can they get more? Catapult comes across, but Bjergsen getting the kill to Cody's son. Only 3 left alive. Another knockup in for Biofrost, but it's Ole on the wings trying to buy some time. Now the disengage for the IMT tanks. The solo lane in the jungle trying to run away, and they will survive, but a 3-for-0 to TSM right as Baron falls off.
And it was Doublelift who snuck enough feathers behind Pobelter and Cody's son to get the root while they were greeting for that turret. Such a critical turn here as Bjergsen picked up a couple of kills, and they still want Smithy.
Smithy forced to ult to buy some time, still a flash to get away, and then the Arctic Assault, more like an Arctic Retreat, gets away with it.
This TSM duo lane is pulling them back into it. TSM with a very critical hold at the inhibitor turret there. That one was about to go down, and Immortals didn't even have the time to pick up that Drake.
Yeah, those turrets heal. TSM now even faster with the secure of this Cloud Drake. Absolutely keeping themselves in the game with that fight because of the power spikes that Immortals is going to be hitting. We'll get to that later. Watching this one more time. Doublelift, just a few autos, gets the root onto both the Corki and the Kog'Maw. Ole can only eat one. The Biofrost initiation comes in afterwards to get up the charm, and that is just over from that point.
Yeah, that is the dream scenario for the TSM teamfight squad. Doublelift and Biofrost come up big, then it makes the follow-up from the Kassadin, from the Zac, very easy for them to do. See what now TSM can actually hold the rest of the map because the vision has still gone dark. Even though they chased off Immortals, they're working with a very, very dark map.
Immortals still has a 4,000 gold lead, but they are now up against 3 Drakes instead of 2. The Rage Blade being completed onto Cody's son is massive, but Bjergsen is yet to complete Lichbane. I think that's going to be a huge moment. Level 16 plus Lichbane for the Kassadin means he can kill the Kog'Maw.
And Doublelift now has Infinity Edge. That's the supreme power spike for Isaiah right now. He can cut through the squishies so much more easily now. And we'll see what can come through into this one. There's not a lot of armor yet on the Immortals front line, so I like his prioritization so far. Mid lane under fire, and you can see this turret just withering under the attacks. 2 more hits.
Immortals still want to fight, and they have the flank from Jarvan.
Early feathers from the disengage, though. Can there be a refight now as Immortals have the ultis available to find themselves the dive? Flame at half HP. Pops the Stone Plate, though. That is his tank stats now gone.
Yeah, that's huge, actually. Stone Plate actives are one of the biggest things keeping the tanks, keeping those front lines alive in these team fights.
This happens. A bit slow. 3,000 gold difference. Out goes Bjergsen. Ardent Sensor done a while ago for Biofrost. Gets those buffs in.
Yeah, and super important to get wards down for flank teleports from Flame. That Jarvan getting a flank onto Doublelift is a huge moment for this game. Just 2,000 gold, Baron being up in 40 seconds. It's all going to revolve around that zone, which Immortals now controls with wards.
They can bait the position properly. It's easier for us as spectators to see what they're doing, what they're not, but TSM often will have no idea. But once they're able to push in top first, this will create even extra pressure. There's always the option to forsake Baron and push top instead if the wave gets to the right place. You can see Immortals, via the vision deficit, able to push the waves first. They have even more room to work with, as at some point TSM have to walk over here and take these minions over. And that gives time for Immortals to ward or sit in fog and look for the next play, like this. Biofrost can't go much farther. Sven's going to be the one to go in front. And you can see that could have been a knock-up onto a support. That could have been a kill, but Sven was the intelligent one to go forward. Wards fought back and forth as TSM control their red buff, but not much farther.
Bjergsen making some headway down on the bottom side with the split push. But Immortals just really focusing on controlling the vision around Baron and leading up to it. Now he's even coming in for a flank, but he's passing over wards as well.
The attempt, and they know it's a fog of war. There's no guarantee this is happening. Blue Trigger used the right time. Sven is around the wings. Can Ole stop him? He's not going to go for it just yet. And they're going to get the elastic slingshot to come out. He is going to dive into this one. Here comes the team fight. Flame's going to disengage. Nice knock him out of the back lane. They pull in Ole. The counter goes to pull him right back in. Look at the damage of it. They've knocked down Biofrost. But the fight continues with Ole dropping out of health. But no, a double kill first. In the back lane, trade it back. It's all the damage on a Hanser. Staying alive, but it's Cody's son still able to hit. And he's killed everybody on this one. Only 2 dead for Immortals. The ace coming through cleanly, and Baron is a formality.
Full stack Rage Blade Kog'Maw is not the one that Bjergsen goes to assassinate. The double marksman, Bjergsen killed Pobelter, could not get Cody's son, and Ole just ate all the damage at the start of that fight for the front line of Immortals.
That is a tanky Tom Kench, and that is going to be a Baron on 3 members of Immortals.
Watching this one more time, Svenskeren makes the choice to go for the fight. He doesn't get the knock-up and ends up taking a lot of damage. And Biofrost's initiation was beautiful. He gets a 4-man charm, but is killed on the way back out.
Instantly taken down on the retreat, and Doublelift as well gets locked up with Svenskeren. Once Double Lift is down, Bjergsen's the only big damage threat that Cody Sun has to worry about. They kite out Concert, and they take him down for the ace.
A red buff and 100 magic resist makes it a little bit easier to stay alive against that Cassidy. You can see almost 6,000 damage out of Cody Sun. Only now getting lifesteal for himself, but he has the Cutlass. Just not enough damage can be dealt by TSM to break through everything.
Even with dying relatively early, Double Lift still pumps out 4,000 damage in that fight. Critical to note, he still has Flash, as does Pope Belter, so the next assassination attempt on him, if he's not chain CC'd, he should be able to flash away from.
Immortals already heavily weakened this bottom side turret though, and they're returning to the site of the team fight. TSM were able to sneak through the feathers. See if they can do it again. Only a couple of shots left.
So that's the turret falling, so there's a lot less distance to cover. The first blade color already used. Now the inhibitor open, and normally a team will not defend when the turret's already gone, but they're gonna go for this one. Knock him out. Ole, let's bounce. Only pulls in the support though. He's gonna pop the shield, stays alive. A nice storm comes across. That's gonna be the first kill. And Otter's dead. There's no backline threat anymore. As the second kill comes in, Rakan is gone. And Immortals with the double kill on Cody's Sun, looking to make it keep happening. And it's a knockup with the flash from Flame on a Bjergsen. 3 kills so far, and it's only the backline left, and he can't do much with it as the double actually came through for Flame. And Double can now only watch as suddenly it's going to be Immortals picking up the kills in the Nexus turrets. Looking to knock down the minions 5v1. I'm not sure he can do this one. Brothers from the buy some time. Wants Skill Flame, no blade call yet to be had though. And Pavot's looking to kill him, his ex-teammate from 2 teams ago under the turret. As the turrets fall, the Nexus now laid bare, and Immortals gonna tie up the series 1-1, hoping to be and gain that first championship.
We have ourselves a series here at the TD Garden. Immortals have arrived. That was such a strong performance by xSmithy, completely changing his goals from game 1 to game 2. Does get kills in the early game, but specifically finding the mid-game fights. They could not get good initiations onto TSM in game 1. That changed in a big way here in game 2.
The differences in front lines was huge in this game. Incredibly tanky Ole there with the Abyssal Voyage, able to make a lot of the picks in the mid game, assists with Smithy, starting out a lot of the fights, as well as Flame on this Jarvan.
Yeah.